Hey guys, it's Love Month. Yeah, we're celebrating Valentine's in style. I'm bringing you a love story. I have amazing guests with me today, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. If you're dating, if you're married, if you're single, this is a video that you should watch. Stay tuned. Alright guys, I'm super excited to have the Abahos here with me on the channel. They're going to introduce themselves. Welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. It's a joy to be here.
I'm excited guys, but I don't know even how to act. But welcome to the channel. Tell the viewers who you are, and then we can get right into it.
Ladies first.
That's my gentleman. My name is Violet Abaho. And together with my husband, we are pastors at Watoto Church downtown. But I'm also a mother and I'm an entrepreneur as well.
Fantastic. Yeah, like she said, we serve as pastors at Watoto Church, and we are parents to 3 lovely children. We've been married now 13 years. Ooh. Yeah, 13 years. So it's amazing, really amazing doing life together all these years. I'm a friend, so it's such a joy to be here. Yeah, it's such a joy to be here.
Oh wow, guys! I love marriage. I love love stories. So when I got to be their friend, I was like, they have to share their story. So I want to know, first of all, do you celebrate Valentine's?
Absolutely, yeah. We do. Yeah, we always do. Always try to do something at least. Yeah, we try and do something. Yeah, it never passes otherwise. Yes. Cold food, just cold shoulders.
Please celebrate. Your wives want you to do something. Don't be there saying we celebrate love all year round.
Stingy Men's Association. There you go.
Please don't do that. All right, so I want to know, you've said you've been married 13 years, but take us back a bit. How did you meet? We want to hear that love story.
Do you want me to go first?
Go first, yeah.
His is another version.
They have different versions.
Slow motion. We met when we were in, I think it was before we left campus, that senior 6 vacation. And
just before we got to campus.
Just before we got to campus, that that vacation before you get to. So we were in lots of different things, involved in different things, like fellowships at Watoto Church. Yeah. And we were in a fellowship called the Warriors at the time, what you would call the MOF. Yeah, they call them the MOF now. But we were involved in a couple of projects. We were both in Makerere College at the time, at some point before. He was there in his O-level, I was there in my A-level, so we missed each other. But God saw it fit that at this time, we met when we were trying to fundraise for a PA system at our school at Makerere College at the time. They didn't have one for the chapel. And so we were going to put up a performance and, raise funds to have that PA system. And that's how we met. We were dancing, we were singing, and, sharing the love of Jesus with students at the time. And it was just awesome. Now for him, the first time before we met at church, Watoto Church, and I was coming up the stairs and I met this group. He was in a group called G3 at the time. And so they were singing, and this was the first time to come to church, to that particular church at the time. So I met him and they were singing and doing all these vocals, and I was like, what's going on here? And so I said to him, you know what? Let me take my turn as well, and so I wanted to also show that I could also sing. So I sang for him, and that's how our friendship kind of sparked off, and we got to know each other for about 6 months. For him, it was, like I said, love at first sight. For me, I was reserving, so we became friends, and he made me laugh, and after 6 months, I looked back and I was like, you know what, this is somebody that I need to get to know better. And I realized at the 6 months mark, I think that's when I realized I was actually in love with him.
6 months, guys. Pastor Brian, let's hear your version.
So it was senior 6 vacation. And the day she walked in, so that group, G3, the guys, we were in school together, so we loved singing. So I remember she walks up the stairs, and I saw her. I'm like, who is this girl? Now, at this time, I didn't want anything to do with relationships, because I was like, now I'm serious. So those guys who used to put, the chairs in church and pray for every chair. Like, serious, no jokes. So then, but she walks up the stairs, and I'm like, man. So she walks up, I see, I'm like, and then I'm like, okay, focus on practice. Then she comes and starts greeting the guys I'm with. Like, Lord, you're just sharp. You're sharp. So you brought her. So my friends knew her. I realized they were in A-levels together at Makerere College. And so I introduced myself, to, cut the long story short. I realized we both loved music. Yeah. Now, that was the days of tapes for music. I mean, it's like 2002. So actually 2003. So there's a group I loved called Plus One. An amazing, and she had the music, she had the tape, so I borrowed it from her. But the intention was not to return it, just so we can keep reminding me, bring back my tape. Hey, bring the tape. What? I'm just like, hey, strategy, just have to make yourself present. So I took the tape. And so we began to talk. So like she said, we got into the production to raise funds for Makerere College Chapel, PA. We did that, and in that time, because let me tell you, the day I saw her, I knew.
You knew?
I knew. And so when we were dancing, we were preparing, practicing, man. I remember we were doing some salsa dance, and then she was dancing with someone else. And I was dancing with someone else. I'm like, Lord, man, what's up? Like, help a brother out. But she didn't enjoy the person she's dancing with. I also didn't like the person dancing. I'm like, man, but it didn't work out. So we did the production, and I remember the day the production was done, everything had been wrapped up. Now we're walking out of the hall, and I didn't know that I would even see her again. So I'm walking out of the hall, and she's on the stage. At Makerere College dining hall, so she's at the stage, but I'm walking, but I felt like she was looking at me. Even as I was walking out, seriously, like I felt she was looking at me. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just stand and see. Go ahead. I turned, and she was looking at me. Seriously, she was looking at me. I'm like, what? Like, am I going to see you again? And then, like, she started running from the stage towards me. Seriously, like, I'm telling you. First she said she was walking.
But for you saw running.
She was bolting.
Guys, what do you think is right? Does she walk or was she running? Let us know in the comments.
Just know she came running. She came. She's like, man, shall I see again? I'm like, I don't know what. She's like, so her like, man. Then disaster happens. She had the phone. She says, man, can I take your number? I didn't have a phone, man. It was weakness, just it's like, can I? So what I did, I had a birthday with a neighbor, so I gave her my birthday's number. So, man, after that, she would like call. Her dad had endless airtime, so she would call, but then she would call my birthday, and my birthday would come and tap me at home, man. That's not
Johnny. If I call my birthday.
So we would talk for hours and hours, man. It was so cool, but I was already in love. I was already in love. Like, I remember one time, because my mom was tough on me. She wouldn't just let me go to church and stuff like that. So I remember one day, while we were practicing, we're part of a dance group, something like that. I think we're dancing. I remember we used to stay on Rubaga Road. I walked all the way to Baptist Church in Akulabi. I walked just to see her, and then ran back home. So by the time my mom gets home, like I'm back. But I just needed to see her that day. Man, I think those were signs. I was giving a vibe.
You're serious.
I'm serious. So we did that. We were friends. Like, would be walking with friends, and like our friends would suddenly walk off, and it was amazing. So friends would tease us and say, you guys, so what's up? And first be like, man, we're tight friends, man. We love what the Lord is doing in our lives. You guys are like, you guys, what's up? Man, I was in love, and I remember the day we began dating, like the official day.
Did you ask her? How did that go?
So now we're at a party, and now this party was the final party. Like, now we've come to the end of VAC, guys. We're going to uni, so let's meet. So somebody hosted the party, food, music, Essex VAC is. So we're going to university. So that day, I don't know, for some funny reason, I even came to the party with a book. Just know I had a novel.
To do what?
Some novel about like prayer. What? I was serious. I was not playing games. Just know. I was focused, but she was at the party too, you know. And then there was some guy. Actually, he's a buddy of ours. He's in Selby right now. You know, he lives in in the UK and Switzerland. So I remember a day we were benching there together. I was like benching these ends, reading my book. But to be honest, I wasn't reading. I was listening to their conversation.
Trying to tap.
Yeah, and the vibe was, man, it was hard. I knew she was bad. So, and she made it known. Because you told me, right?
That was really a tough conversation. And yet, my friend here was concentrating in the book. You know, he looked convincing.
Like he was reading.
Yes. And I was like, you know what? So thankfully, we were saved by the bell. They told us to go for lunch, right?
Yeah.
And then as I went quickly into the line, he was behind me. I was like, Panagi, can't you save a sister,
I know,
please?
see, I'm struggling.
Yes.
So we in the line, we catch up. I'm like, okay, so, but I told her, but he's gone, he's coming back, and when he comes back, he wants to sit with you.
Yes.
Yeah. And so me, I'm going to sit with other guys. She's like, nada. So she gummed the seat where she came to sit with me. She took the book away, what? So we began to, then, so now this is like 6 p.m. We're coming to the end of the party. So we're there, we talked about lots of things. Man, next week, guys are reporting to university. She asks me, is there something you want to say to me?
Wow, straight shooter. Don't waste time.
So I'm like, so in my mind, I'm like, man, there's a lot I want to say to you, but, so I said, yeah. She's like, hey, you have something to say to me. So, what's up? So, I'm telling you,
It was tough.
you better be ready for these moments because you can either nail it or you
mess
can mess it up.
Yeah.
So I was there, I said, man, I need to bring it. So I'm like, okay, you know what? I like you. And she's like, I told her, no. I really like you.
Oh, my God.
She's like, you do? I don't actually, you know what? I love you.
Hey.
Wait. I plotted my lines. I was like,
how are you feeling?
My gosh. I think for me, at that point, I was like, I knew this guy liked me. I knew there was a vibe between us, but he was not saying anything. And we are going to campus and, you know, and separate campuses at that. He was going, I was going to MOBS, he was going to Makerere University.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was no guarantee of what will happen after that.
know.
So I said to myself, you know what, now is when we need to, let's have a conversation. And because I don't want to look back on this moment and regret,
Kali if.
you know, Kali if I had talked, or if we had spoken, you know, I didn't want that. I was picturing it as like, no, I don't want that issue happening. So let's talk about, let's have this conversation and, you know, let's move, let's find out. Yeah, it could be good. If it is not good, well, you know, we will move on. If it is good, we'll never know until we have the conversation. So that's where
we did. And she was like, you know, I really like you too. I love you too. Man, I was in cloud. I had to stay composed, but inside,
You were dying.
happiness was just killing me. So, but then I said a line. I've never forgotten that line. Up to now, it's the weakest line. Man, I was like, so we are now boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm just like, oh my. When I look back on that moment, I'm like, man.
I shouldn't have.
It was like water. It was like water on like, you know, hot
But
charcoal.
what did she feel it was?
Yeah.
It was maybe it was
For me, really, the moment is what I was holding on to. The moment of, okay, this is, we are now moving forward. We love each other. We have proclaimed it to one another. That was the most important thing for me. Yeah, it wasn't about the weeks.
And we started, I just have never forgotten that line. So man, just remember guys, when in that moment, when she says yes, man, find some other line, be like, you know what? I'm excited about this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Like, let's do this. The vibe. Let's do this. Don't be like, now you mean we are boyfriend? And it was so weak. But and so we began. And that was at the end of our work.
So now, like, now that you started, were you consistent, you know, till you got married. How was that dating process like? You know, now that you are separate, different campuses, how did you make sure you kept that relationship? Did it even remain, or you first broke up?
No. Actually, there's a time we came to
really close.
we were having fights, or disagreements at some point. I was like, but is this? Are we?
It?
Yeah, is this it? Are we
yeah.
going to? Are we going to sustain this? But we didn't. We didn't. We were like, you know what? We're in this for a long haul. We were committed to one another. We're like, no. We're going to go through it. We're going to walk through it. If we have to have some tough conversations, it's okay. But I know what I want. He knew what he wanted, and we kept on.
Light bulb moment with Lisa. Did you know that dogs evolved puppy eyes to get what they want from humans? Maybe you can try it out this Valentine's so that you can get a gift. Try your puppy eyes. Hey, Valentine is coming. Hey, where are your puppy eyes?
Yeah.
So Nandi, I want to go to you because for him he says it was love at first sight. Me, I want to know from you, what are those things you saw in him that you felt this is the person I want to walk this journey with?
Yes. Now, up until that point, now remember we were friends first for about 6 months when he saw me. At that time, I'd spoken to God. We had a conversation with God, and I said to him, you know what, Lord, the next guy that comes in my life, it needs to be, this is the person, like this has to be it. Someone who, number one, loved God, someone who loved ministry, somebody who would make me laugh. Yes, that was important. Someone who was my friend, that was that was really important to me. But of course I had written some other things for God, as like he has to be tall and all of that. Yes. So I loved the journey that we had. It wasn't a rushed one. We were friends. We had conversations, we laughed, we did ministry together, and it lasted for like 6 months. I thought that was a beautiful journey, and so I got to know him. I got to know that he loved God, he loved ministry. I met his friends, and unintentionally I would also ask his friends, oh, how was this guy in school?
Background information.
Just getting some information of how he was and what his character was like, and that's when I realized, with all the conversations that we've had and the experiences we've had together in that period, that's when I realized, what, this is the man I want to be with, and for the rest of my life, I knew. I knew this was it.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And it's interesting because that was I was young, but I knew, because at that moment I think I'd had some failed relationships, and I said, good, you know what, the next person, and I'm not going to rush it. If you bring him my way, I will know this is the person. Yeah. And those are some of the things that I looked out for: loving Jesus, ministry, and person who would make me laugh, and we're friends.
Brian, did you have that list? People always have that list. She must. You have a list also?
I had a list, but mine was more relaxed. Although I had a list, my mom tells me that when I was about maybe 10, I told her that I'll marry a Muganda girl. I don't know.
You knew, you had vision.
Wait, at 10. At 10. So it's so weird. So when I met her, to find out she was a Muganda, I was like, Lord,
that is it.
matchmaker. Ibrahim is another level. So my list was one. I always had a passion for politics, but I knew God had called me to serve in his house. And it was just an impression that was very, very strong on my heart. So because I knew that, there was sort of this expectation for me that the lady I would date and eventually marry needed to be one that also loved ministry. They love the house of God. Ministry is not a bother to them. Actually, they look at my life and say, you know what? Let's do this together. And so for me, that was important to me. And but of course, man, she had to be beautiful. And then she was a singer. So I mean, it was working. It was working. So it just came together. So, but the thing that was most important to me is that because I knew this is a journey of life I'm going to go on, we've got to be partners in this. Yeah, I can't just do it by myself, and I don't want to strain or stress the family, because you know, you hear stuff how, man, if you're not on the same page, and I mean, we're 18 at the time, so I think I just wanted to be sure that we are going down the same path. That was important to me.
That's so exciting, because you already knew that you were going to date for marriage. It's like not as if like let's first play games. What? No. You guys, from what I'm hearing, you both knew that this is someone I want to spend my life with. That's exciting. So, what tips would you give people dating? Because when you were dating, I don't know how that journey was. What are some of those things? Did you have boundaries to make sure that no, we're not going to cross this? How are we going to keep that fire burning for one another and things like that?
I mean, for me, maybe just a couple real quickly off the top of my head. One of the things is that if you're going to date successfully, one, have a vision for that. Like, think seriously about it. Like, don't just jump in and say, oh, let's see what happens. I think there's got to be more to life than that. I think, and it also starts with the guys. You've got to be intentional that I want to take this girl all the way to marriage. And I think if you have that at the back of your mind, there's a way you handle stuff. And you're committed. You're not in and out all the time, and you don't play a lot of games. So I think that's very, very important, that you actually have, you start out with that plan of, I want this to go to marriage. Now, sometimes it might not always work, but actually having that level of intentionality is so important. The other thing I would say is find common ground. It will be hard to date someone with whom you don't have common ground. What brings you together, you know? And for us, I mean, there was music, there was ministry. I mean, we're in a dance group together. We just, there was a lot outside of just being friends and having, you know, feelings for each other. We had stuff in common. I think that stuff, what it does, it just brings you together and puts you in spaces where you're able to do stuff together and see what the other person is like, their mindset, their values.
You're learning.
You're learning, you're watching, and actually it brings your, I feel like it brings your hearts closer together instead of just emotion. I feel like let something bring you together.
More than just the emotion.
The emotion.
Nandi, for you, was there anything that you think helped you guys as you were dating?
I think we were really intentional. Not only did the things that we're involved in at the time bringing us together, but we're also intentional in spending time together and just, you know, discovering who we were and just growing that friendship. I think that was really key for us as well. Even though we were in separate campuses at the time, we made time, I think every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
You had a date?
Yes. Every Saturday we made it,
I think that was after dance.
Yes, after we would have our practice, we would actually spend time together and hang out, because our situation was unique. We're in separate campuses, you know, and so we were committed to that, and we did it actually all through our campus years, and we saw ourselves growing together, growing in friendship. Our friends got to know each other. He knew my friends, I knew his friends, and so that also kind of held us accountable.
That's important.
In regards to, hey, you guys, where are you? You know, because you know you're young, stuff can happen. So that sort of helped us. Eventually, I got to meet his mom, and then we then got, you know, traveled on the choirs together. Well, not on the same team,
but around the same period.
Around the same period. So all of those things brought us together. Because same circumstances, same spaces, which was really
I like
good.
when you talk about friendships and accountability. I was about to ask, did you guys have people who are, you know, walking the journey with you to make sure that, you know, or to even see, let's see Brian, is he the one? You know, we know you, Nandi. Do we see that he is the one, and vice versa? Did you have that kind of mentorship of friends?
Yes, it was very, very important. Actually, our friends would ask questions. Oh, I tell you can't hide nothing. Guys ask questions, and I think that's very important when you're dating. Don't date in private.
Hiding.
You know,
saying, no, let's not tell anyone.
No, like until it, like we are sure. No, actually, from the very start, let your friends know, man, I love that girl. And I think that's very important, because then your friends are going to watch you, and man, if they see you playing around, they're going to be like, what's up? What's going on here? I think there's that accountability, but then also when stuff is not going well, You guys can tell him, man, hang in there. Because we were dating,
Yes.
and I think we probably were among the first. Because I remember once when they asked who were dating in the fellowship, were the only ones who put up
You
a
would
hand.
have
They called us to the pastor's office, but that was just to tell. They were just asking us, "Are you
Yeah.
guys sure about this?" And actually, we had quite serious support from also the pastors and the leaders with whom we served. So it was great. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful. Now when you got into marriage, because there are marrieds who are listening to us and just want to know, you said how many years?
13.
13 years. That is not easy. What's that stuff you can say that is helping you run this journey successfully? Not just thriving marriage.
Thriving marriage.
One of the things, like I said, even before when we were dating, spending time. Now, when it's a different season when you're no longer on campus. Now you're married, you have children, you have careers, you have ministry. There's a lot of stuff that you have to balance out, and one of the things that we're intentional about is spending time. Spending time. So sometimes his schedules are crazy, mine are also crazy sometimes, but one of the things that we do is we try as much as possible to spend time together. So we would love to have couch time, we call it couch time, but sometimes it's not possible, so we have pillow time. Pillow talk. Yeah, we have lots of those where we, you talk about the future, talk about how his day was. I think that is really important, even the communication.
And forgiving. Forgiving, because there's some serious offense.
Because I'm going to say, with this beautiful love story, does Nandi annoy you?
Under the skin, like a vein. So forgiving is so important, because you get offended. And I think I offend you, she offends me, but I think that commitment, say, okay. And sometimes, to be honest, we don't talk about it immediately. But sometimes we all the time we'll make sure we have to come back and say, okay, what's going on, and then forgive and be willing to forgive. I think that's very important, because it allows you to know, number one, how not to don't do that again. But then also it allows you to even chat, maybe go a bit deeper, because sometimes issues, you may be dealing with an issue here, but there's some stuff underneath that you actually get to really talk through. And mindsets, it could be just certain things, and there's a lot of clarity when you actually sit and talk. So I think that's one of the things that has allowed us to, be teenagers in marriage right now.
Teenagers in marriage. Yeah, that one. Guys, please, I hope you're writing. Teenagers in marriage. Don't be too serious.
Yes, true.
Yeah. So for me, I want to touch a bit. You said ministry. She loved ministry, and it's something we need to bring out, because sometimes, imagine you love ministry. Yes, she's born again, but then she doesn't love that. It would be a challenge. So it's not. I want us to talk on. Yes, we are both born again, but we need to see more in terms of how are we coming together. Like how do we complement one another? We love kind of the same things, because we are different. We'll all be different, but there are those things that are important to
very important.
Can you just add more about that?
I think it's so critical, because the butterflies are not that they're not there all the time, to be honest. But the friendship and the connection and the life, you're building a life together. So imagine trying to build a life together when nothing brings you together. That would be hard. Just you're enduring, you're not enjoying. And so I think the stuff that brought us together, especially where ministry was concerned, is then what ministry did, it put us with people. So we were able to date. It wasn't just us. There was people. So we also built community. So that means we had friends, which was very important. The other thing about ministry is that ministry has a way of bringing clarity to whether it's actually ministry you're in love with or it's God you're in love with. And I think ministry has a way of exposing. If you're only after platform, and you're just looking for the spotlight, ministry has a way of exposing you. And because you're in front of people and there's a ministry pulls some things out of you, whether there's pride, there's like a bit of arrogance. And so it has a way of exposing the character of a person. And I think that was key. It brought us together, but it got us to really see each other for who we truly are. And I think that was very, very important. Very important.
Guys, me, I've learned you are lost, you know. Be teenagers in marriage, don't just be as if too serious, yeah. So as we kind of conclude, give us some of your parting shots. Yeah, just final tips you feel like people who are walking the journey of dating. What are those key things they need to know, you know, so that they don't make those mistakes. You know, Valentine's is here. We're all in love. Yeah, like a thing just creates some kind of cloud. I don't know. But what are some of those things they don't need to forget as they're dating?
Let me go first. I'll go first. I would say that for those who are dating, you want to remember that nothing great was built in one day. So don't rush it. Actually, dating is a big opportunity for you to get into someone's world. It's an opportunity for you to get to know somebody, like really appreciate, search, ask questions, like have conversations. It's time to connect. It's not time to put anyone on pressure, take the money, then take me out. And those things come, but if you put those things before, you will not get to know the person. The person is the gift. This is the gift that God has brought into your life. So get to know that. The last thing I'd say about dating is that while dating and getting to know this person, ask yourself, am I willing and ready to be responsible for someone else and responsible to someone else? If you're not willing to be responsible for someone and be that fully accountable, responsible to them, just don't waste their time. Let it go. You're just playing games. But if you're actually serious, you'll find that you're open and you're willing, and actually makes the process more meaningful. And on the other end of that meaningful process is a relationship that's just waiting to blossom.
Wow.
And I think dating is don't. I think when stuff when it becomes, you feel like there is friction, or you feel like you're forcing something, then it has to flow natural. It has to be natural. Like, we got to know each other. We were friends, you know. We took our time. We grew our conversation. We were in the same spaces. It was natural. It was natural. When it starts becoming like this, then
vibe. You just
then there is a
depend.
problem.
You're just trying to vibe and it's like almost con the person. That's when I think it needs friendship first. I think you want to make sure you connect at that level.
Guys, please make sure that you are friends. Don't rush things. Get to know these people, because I get lots of people saying 1 month after the wedding, person has changed. Was the friendship there? Did you, you know, maybe you put other things in front of the relationship and you didn't get to know one another? Thank you guys for sharing your story. It was beautiful. Nandi, you said you're an entrepreneur. Do you want to say something? You want to let them know?
Absolutely. My husband and I, we own shuttle service, a school shuttle service. And so we work in the areas of Najera, Chira, Chanja, Buwate. So if you have, you know, school-going children and, you know, you're looking for some, you know, safe transportation, you know, you can call us and we will be there for you, especially for the parents whose you know, day is packed and you're not able to do those runs, you know, those errands to pick up the child, drop them, you know, back home. We can do that, and I can assure you your child will be safe with us. Absolutely.
What's it called?
It's called Turbo Shuttle.
Turbo Shuttle, guys. Please reach out. I'm going to put some numbers in the description. I trust them. So you know that your kids are going to be safe. Any Valentine plans?
Any Valentine plans? I'm always cooking. I'm always cooking.
Excellent. Men out there, are you listening? Thank you guys for coming here. I'm super excited. I hope you guys have been inspired by that story. Let us know in the comment section what are you doing for Valentine's, or any dating tips you feel you know we have not mentioned. You can let us know in the comment section. My name is Kusiima, and I'm here to inspire.